Equations. How to solve multi-step equations with variables on both sides. What are they? Statement with an equal sign stating that two expressions are equal. Why? Helps you figure out how much to share equally. Interesting fact. Eagles feature prominently on the coat of arms of a large number of countries such as Germany, Mexico, Egypt, Poland, and Austria. Now let's take a look at the examples we're going to be talking about. And now let's take a closer look at example 1. And the steps are: step 1, move all the variables to one side. Step 2, move all constant terms or numbers to the other. Step 3, continue until the variable is by itself. Let's talk about the inverses. The inverse of addition is subtraction and vice versa, and the inverse of multiplication is division and vice versa. Now let's read the example. Solve the equation 9x minus 5 is equal to 12x minus 4. Now let's add hidden symbols before we do anything, and that will help us to determine which inverse we need to do and when. So now let's read what we have. So we have positive 9 times x minus 5 is equal to positive 12 times x minus 4. Now you may be wondering, which side do I move the variable to? It doesn't matter. You can pick either one. But in this case, we're going to move the 9x to the other side because 12 is greater than 9. And we want to have a positive variable because that makes things a little bit easier. So since it has that plus sign in front of the 9 and the inverse of addition is subtraction, we're going to go ahead and subtract 9x from the left-hand side, and 9x minus 9x is equal to 0. So those numbers cancel, and now we need to do it to the right-hand side. 12x minus 9x is 3x, and let's write down what we have so far. We have negative 5 is equal to positive 3 times x minus 4. We need to get rid of that minus 4 because we're having to solve for the variable on the right-hand side. Since it says minus, the inverse of that is addition, and we're going to add 4 to the right-hand side. So negative 4 plus 4 is equal to 0. Those numbers cancel, and now we need to do it to the left side. Negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1. Let's write down what we have so far. We have negative 1 is equal to positive 3 times x. In between that number and the variable, we have time. So we need to do the inverse of that, and that is division. So we need to divide by positive 3 on the right-hand side. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Those numbers cancel. Now we need to do it to the left side as well. Negative 1 divided by positive 3 is negative 1/3. And since we only have one negative number when we're dividing or multiplying, we keep it as a negative number, and we write negative 1/3 is equal to x. And we have one more step. You're not going to see it written like that. You're going to see the x written first because that is the norm, and you get x is equal to negative 1/3 as your answer. Now let's take a closer look at example 2. We have 14x plus 7 is equal to 8x plus 19. Let's add the hidden symbols. We have positive 14 times x plus 7 is equal to positive 8 times x plus 19. Now, in this case, we're going to go ahead and move the 8x to the other side, or to the left side, because 14 is greater than 8, and we want to have positive variables. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 8x because of that plus sign in front of the 8, and subtraction is the inverse of addition. So 8x minus 8x is equal to 0. So those numbers cancel, and now we need to do it to the left side. 14x minus 8x is equal to 6x. So let's write down what we have so far. We have positive 6 times x plus 7 is equal to positive 19. And now, since we're dealing with the variable on the left-hand side, we need to move that plus 7 to the other side. And the inverse of plus is subtract. And now we're going to go ahead and subtract 7 from the left-hand side. 7 minus 7 is 0. So those numbers cancel. We're going to subtract 7 from the right-hand side as well. 19 minus 7 is 12. Let's write down what we have so far. We have positive 6 times x is equal to positive 12. Since we have that times, we need to get rid of that by doing the inverse, which is division. So we're going to divide by positive 6 on the left-hand side. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So those numbers cancel. And now we need to do it to the right-hand side. And we get 12 divided by 6, which is equal to 2. And we get x is equal to 2 as our answer. And let's take a look at example 3a. We have negative 2x plus 6 is equal to negative 6x plus 14. Now let's add the hidden symbols. So we have negative 2 times x plus 6 is equal to negative 6 times x plus 14. You may be wondering which side to do it on. Well, I'm going to show you how to do it in both ways to show you that it doesn't matter. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and move the variable to the left-hand side. So in that case, we're going to add 6x to both sides because you have the minus sign or the negative sign in front of the 6, and the inverse of that is add or addition. And we have negative 6x plus 6x is equal to 0. So those numbers cancel, and now we need to do it to the left side as well. And negative 2x plus 6x is equal to 4x. Let's write down what we have so far. We have positive 4 times x plus 6 is equal to positive 14. We need to get rid of that positive 6 or plus 6, and in order to do that, we do the inverse. And so we're going to subtract 6 from the left-hand side, and 6 minus 6 is 0. So those numbers cancel. Now we need to do it to the right-hand side. So 14 minus 6 is 8. Let's write down what we have so far. Positive 4 times x is equal to positive 8. So we need to get rid of that 4, and we have time, so we need to do division, and we're going to divide by positive 4. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So those numbers cancel, and now we need to do it to the right-hand side. So we have 8 divided by 4, which is 2. And that is our answer. X is equal to 2. Now let's go ahead and show you it the other way as well. So we have the same equation, negative 2x plus 6 is equal to negative 6x plus 14. Add the hidden symbols, so we have negative 2 times x plus 6 is equal to negative 6 times x plus 14. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and move the variable to the right-hand side. So since that minus sign or the negative sign in front of the 2, we need to do the inverse. So we need to add 2x, and negative 2x plus 2x is give us 0. So those numbers cancel. So now we need to add 2x to the other side. So negative 6x plus 2x is equal to negative 4x. And now let's write down what we have so far. We have positive 6 or plus 6 is equal to negative 4 times x plus 14. We need to get rid of that plus 14, and the inverse of that is subtraction. So 14 minus 14 is 0. Those numbers cancel. Now we need to do it to the left side. So we have 6 minus 14, which is equal to negative 8. Let's write down what we have. So we have negative 8 is equal to negative 4 times x. So now we're going to divide by negative 4. And negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1, because when you're dividing by or multiplying by two negative numbers, they cancel and you're left with a positive number. And that cancels. And now we need to do it to the other side as well. You have negative 8 divided by negative 4, which is 2. And that is your answer. 2 is equal to x. But remember, we need to go ahead and flip so that the variable is on the left-hand side. And that is your final answer. X is equal to 2. Now it is your turn, so go ahead and pause the video so you can take your time to answer these questions. And I will show you the answers in 3, 2, and 1. Here are the answers. If you got them correct, well done. If not, there's always tomorrow.